the login screen?
Yes, I can.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. Well, what I'd like to do is I'd like to take you through some of the things that Amy had talked about, the custom configuration with a simple ticket, talking about multiple departments and how you're able to customize for those departments individually, go through some of our tasks and ticket templates, just kind of things to make life a little bit easier for you. And then we'll maybe wrap it up more on the customized detailed reports, which I'll show. I'm just going to do an overview today. Just know that if you'd like to have a one-on-one webinar with me or with someone here, we would be happy to take a little bit more time, go a little bit more in depth, and talk about your specific situation and some of the things that you would like to be able to do. And so keep that in mind. We'd love to take some one-on-one time with you to talk specifics. Like I said, I'm just going to kind of touch on the surface here of some of the things that we offer within the help desk. I'm going to just chat a little bit about some of the everyday things, I think, with the help desk, and then we'll talk about some of the specifics. This is a web-based solution, whether that's on-premise or whether that's hosted by us. We have the ability to push it out over the web. It's also mobile compatible, iPhones, Droids, Blackberries, iPads, tablets. I mean, we would be able to have full functionality with those type of devices. A lot of times, you and your technicians are on the go, so why wouldn't your help desk be on the go as well? And so our mobile interface is very good. Now, I'm going to go through some different scenarios here, but just know that there is a web portal for the user. If you wanted to allow your end users to go online and fill this out, you do have the ability to do that. We're actually going to use your directory for authentication, Active Directory, eDirectory, even Open LDAP directory for the Mac users, where you're not having to recreate login ID and passwords for your users. We're simply just going to authenticate with your directory. I'm going to start off by going in as a user. Let's pretend that I'm an end user and I need some help. And this will go into our custom configuration and the simple ticket. A lot of times, we accept emails, we get phone calls from users. Emails, they're nice, they're easy, but oftentimes we don't get a lot of information. And that's where customizing this form allows you to maybe ask the right questions that you want from the user. And I'll explain what I mean by that here in just a second. But by allowing the user to come online, it also helps increase our communication. For instance, before I create a new ticket, I've logged in as Nikki Patterson. Once again, I am an end user. The first thing you'll see here are a list of tickets. These are tickets that I, Nikki, have submitted to the help desk. Now, hopefully, you don't have an end user with 20 open tickets at one time, and I apologize for that. This is my demo database, and so sometimes it gets a little skewed there when it comes to the numbers. But this is a great place for me to come for communication. Status updates, I can see the public notes to this ticket. It's kind of like package tracking. Instead of calling the post office, I can actually go on and just see where my package is at. I don't have to make phone calls or emails trying to get that communication. I have this right here. You'll even notice, to increase my communication, that I have a marquee here. It says phones are down, please do not submit tickets for phone issues. This is customizable. It'll take you just a couple of seconds to change that. Oftentimes when you allow a user to go online, you want to notify them, you want to communicate with them, and so we allow you to go in and customize that, and you can obviously make that much larger if you wanted, put more words into it to make it a little bit more detailed. But the idea here is, the phones are down, so the last thing you want are 30 tickets for a phone issue that you already know about, and so we can throw some communication out that way as well. For this instance, I'm going to get into our ticketing, and I'm going to talk about how to make this ticket simple, as well as being able to configure it the way that you want. We're also going to talk about multiple departments and configuring it for multiple departments as well. You'll notice here that I come to group. This is where I can make I can distinguish which group that I want to send this to. Is this a maintenance facilities ticket? Is this going to be an IT ticket? The groups allow us to have these multiple departments that use the same system. A lot of times when you think help desk, you think IT. Well, just so you know, there's a lot of organizations out there that are making this more centralized within their organization, meaning you see more and more maintenance facilities and more transportation departments and human resources that want to utilize a ticket tracking tool. End users are asking them questions, needing help from them as well, and so they often will use this type of a tool. And so what we do is we allow you to centralize that, meaning whether it's for my heating and air conditioning in my office or classroom, or maybe it's for my computer, I go to the same system. Really the key is that there's rights and securities that are going to separate these departments, meaning you in IT, you will not see maintenance issues. Maintenance will not see your issues. You will not report on each other's issues unless given rights to do so. And so the form itself is also customized by department. For instance, I'm going to spend most of my time talking about IT, but if I come in here in maintenance and I look at this form, you'll notice that my terminology here, my drop-downs, are configured to maintenance. And it would literally take you a couple of seconds to come in and build this list. Any drop-down you see is configured by you. It is a very easy little tool that you can just add a list of what you want fields to say and be. But if I choose custodial and I come in here to my category option, what type of custodial issue is it? Is it a spill? And then you'll even notice that I have some additional questions that populated. These are custom fields beyond our standard fields, where you can actually come in here and you can ask additional questions. It would literally take you 3 to 5 seconds to build a custom field. You can call it what you want, you can make it required, you can put it into a text field, a drop down, a checkbox, a radio button, a date field. I mean, there's just a lot of different options. The idea there is a lot of times you have 2 or 3 questions you'd love to ask based on what they chose. And instead of getting an email that says, hey, I need some help, we can ask additional questions. You'll notice that if I come back here to IT, my form will now be specific to IT. Meaning when I come into my category options, I'm now looking at IT issues. There's not this long list of all the departments that use the help desk. We have the ability to separate that out and make this customizable based on the department that this is going to. If I choose hardware, once again, there's that intelligence where I can come in and I can see only hardware issues. If I were to choose software, I would then see the different types of software issues. If I come in here and choose printer, you'll notice that I have a different series of questions that I'd like to ask. I should mention this. The standard fields, category option, assignment, priority status, you have the ability to remove those from their view, make them not required. You can even make it grayed out so that all they can do is see it, like priority and status. We don't let them set those fields for pretty obvious reasons, but maybe you want to at least allow them to view them. And so you can do that from here. At the end of the day, I guess my point is that it's very easy to come in and customize this form how you want, even asking additional questions. Based on what they choose, their problem is. You also have the ability to report and filter on any field that you see here, even custom fields as if they were a standard field. You probably noticed that if I come back up here to the top that my contact information was pre-populated. We're actually pulling that from the directory. Once again, we're getting back to the simple side to this ticket. We don't want the user to have to tell us who they are, what their email, their phone is every time they fill this out. And so what we do is we pull that information based on their login info from the directory. If you have additional fields in your directory that you want to bring into the help desk, you can. It's simple. This is just the default. Any field you store there, we have the ability to pull in. You'll even notice I can put in some notes, subject, note. I can attach a file. Some of your more savvy end users will throw a screenshot on here, something like that. And then they can hit save. Now, once they hit save, we're going to send an email back to them automatically as a confirmation. And we're also going to send an email to the technician letting them know that they have a new ticket within the system. Now, to make this form even simpler, I don't know if that's a word, simpler, but I just made it up, I think. But to make it a little bit more easy, let's use that. We actually can route assignments. We can route. You'll notice here it looks like a drop down. It is not. I would even suggest removing it from their view, but I like to leave it here so that I can show this. We can route this assignment based off of location, category, and/or category option. Meaning, some organizations based on a location, first level support will go to this person. But some organizations it's based off of skill set, and so we can say if it's this type of an issue, we send it to this person. I keep saying person, but you can also send it to what we call teams, ticket pools, where instead of sending it to an individual, you send it to a group of individuals where they can either dispatch from or even pull from that queue. And I'll kind of show that here in just a second. All right, I'm going to move away from the form. I apologize for being a little long-winded there, but I wanted to make sure you can see how customizable it can be per department, where you can have these departments that come in. I think that I even have like a payroll ticket here. It's about my paycheck. I'm a teacher. I have a question about my paycheck. It looks like it was too high. I'm sure that never happens, right? And then we can go ahead and send that information on to our payroll department, and they can get back to us, and they can track. the information that's coming at them. Okay, let me jump out here. Once again, I'm just scratching on the surface here. I'm going to log in here as I'm more of a manager-technician. A manager has rights to settings, full access to reports, where a technician, if you didn't want them to, they don't. You can give them those rights if you'd like. But you'll notice here when I log in, I have some queues. This is probably what a technician will see. They'll see their assignments that they are working on. They'll probably see a ticket pool that they're a part of. This is a managerial view where I can see what everybody's doing. So regardless of how the system is assigning things out, I still have access and I can still view that information. And I can sort, I want to see this by oldest tickets first. I want to see this by location, by any of these fields. You have the ability to do that. In custom configuration, you'll even notice here that I have a custom field. Did you spell Coke on your keyboard again? I realize this isn't probably going to be a field that you have here, but I wanted to show how customized you can make it. Any field you add, you have the ability to customize into this view. You can even put these in any order that you want. This is just a custom order that I have chosen here. Now, for phone calls and emails, I'm not going to really get too in-depth there, but if someone were to call us, we can obviously fill this out for our department. This actually will search your directory. If I have Nikki on the phone, I choose Nikki's name, it autofills. I would then come in and fill this out very much the same way. I won't go back through it. We've kind of already been there, but just know that it's very easy to do this either from a phone call or even a mobile device. Where I can throw this ticket in. We also do email to ticket, where we can take your emails and automatically make them tickets. They're going to be a little bit more generic. They're not going to fill out our category option, but the text of the email will come in here, note here, attachments will be brought in. Their contact information is pre-populated based off of email address that is sent to. Really, it just eliminates the copy and paste. You're not building tickets from emails. We just have to come in here and maybe define a few additional fields than we would if we had sent them to the web page. All right, I'm going to talk about one other form of creating tickets, and then I'm going to go back into just real quick an actual ticket. We have what we call quick tickets. There's ticket templates. There's 3 different ways that we can use templates. And I'm only going to talk about one now, and I'll touch on the other 2 here in just a minute. This is what we call a quick ticket. What it allows you to do is predefine your top 10, top 15 frequent type calls that come in. A lot of times you get calls that it would take you longer to fill out a ticket than to solve the problem. And so they go undocumented. Well, there's a lot of value in documentation, regardless of how hard or easy it is to document. And so we wanted to find this efficient way where instead of you creating tickets from scratch, you could just predefine your top 10, top 15, and then we call them quick tickets. You click this, it opens up a pre-populated ticket for this type of issue. You can edit anything you want, put in a few additional notes if you'd like, but when you launch it or when you go in to close it, it'll either put it into a queue as an open ticket if you've defined it that way, or it'll put it into a queue as closed. Like I said, at the end of the day, you want to see how many reset username and passwords you really do. Use the quick ticket. It takes just a few seconds. It's 2 clicks, and you've got it into the system. Okay. Like I said, I'll touch on the other types of templates here in just a few minutes. I want to quickly. We've already looked at this form a little bit, this ticket a little bit, but I want to just talk to you about some of our functionality here as a technician. If I come in here as a technician, I can see my work time, created dates, modified dates. I can put this in PDF format if I want. My history is really what I want to get at. Anytime I make changes or updates to this, we tell you the day, the time, and then who made the update, and obviously what that update was. And so there's a little bit of an audit trail here for you, whether you're passing this ticket and you want to see what the other person has done, or maybe from a managerial view you're looking at accountability and you want to see what's happened to the ticket. Now, if I want to add a note, I can simply come here, type in my note. You'll even notice here that I have the ability to email it to the user. This is to increase your customer satisfaction without decreasing your productivity. To send follow-up emails separately or phone calls separately would take a lot of time away from your everyday tasks that you do. And so what we can do is from the form itself, when I save this sends an email back to the end user. Part is, if I could spell here, there we go. Part is on order, will be in on Friday, right? and then this will send that to them via email. Now we also embed the ticket number and the subject line to that, so that if they hit reply, their reply will actually come back here, look up ticket 78, stamp in the history, and obviously at the same time sending it via email to the technician, letting them know. If the technician decides to just hit reply to the email, once again, stamps in the history, sends it on to the user as far as their reply goes. And so some pretty cool email integration that we have there as well. I'm not going to really get too in-depth into assets today. Just know that we have the ability to track your assets. Kind of two main reasons we do that. Number one, to store asset information, and number two is to tie problems to assets. For instance, if I want to come in here, obviously I can store a lot of information on an asset. Names, numbers, types, PO numbers, values, warranty dates, lease information. I mean, there's a lot of stuff. You can add custom fields to this if you'd like. And obviously, if you wanted to do a one-on-one webinar, we could get more in depth here. But really what I'd like to show is this. This it's kind of like a Carfax history report. It'll show you all the tickets ever associated to the asset. And so if you ever have a question about a laptop that continues to break, it's either going to be the laptop or it's going to be the end user. You can come in here and see how many times the end user has broken the screen on their laptop. And we track that information for you. All right, like I said, just touching on the surface here. We can get more in depth if you'd like. Okay, I'm going to move into tasks and templates, and then we'll finish up with reporting. I know that you probably have a busy day ahead of you, and so I don't want to take up too much of your time. With templates, obviously a template is a pre-populated ticket. And so there's a couple of different ways that we use them. Number one was a quick ticket. The other two, they're a little bit outside of help desk. And what I mean by that is we realize you don't just help people all day. You have a lot of things that you do behind the scenes, upgrades, updates, tasks, projects. There's just a lot going on. And so we wanted to find this efficient way where you could go ahead and track those. And so this first one here is an example of a reoccurring ticket. So let's say that Amy does a task and it reoccurs once a month. What she can do is she can build this as a ticket, and then we can put it on a reoccurrence pattern. On the first day of every month, I want this ticket created. Number one, great reminder. Number two, you're documenting it. Dear Mr. CEO, here's how much time we spend helping people, but here's how much time we spend maintaining and upgrading technology within the organization as well. And this is any time frame you want. Every Monday, every other day, every Monday, Wednesday, Friday, whatever it might be. You can choose a time frame that is appropriate for the task. Okay. The last type of template is what we call a workflow template. I'm going to back it up here real quick. I want to show you something within a ticket. We call it parent-child ticketing here. You might be familiar with that terminology. It's a project management terminology. Well, instead of creating 5 separate tickets that go out and then you have to look for those 5 tickets to be able to see where you're at with the project, we can actually create a parent ticket for the project. And then you'll notice if I come down here, I can create what we call sub-tickets or child tickets. A lot of times with a project, you have additional 3 or 4 or 5 tasks that go out to different individuals. And so you want to be able to manage that from one area here. Now you will be able to customize this view, and I apologize, it's kind of ugly, but numbers, subject, you can actually put in assignment status, estimated completion dates right here so you can see where you're at with this. And this is kind of the manual way to come in and create assignments. Now, if you wanted, through templates, you can actually predefine a workflow for that. For instance, a new hire. If I come in here for my new hire, I need the maintenance to put in the desk. I need to put in a computer and a phone. I need to give them their email and passwords. I need to add them to the directory. I mean, there's just a ton of different steps. These are all sub-tickets. They're each their own ticket assigned to an individual to take care of. But instead of sending them all out at one time, we can create a step-by-step workflow. Step 1, we launch the parent ticket. Right away, we send out 2 tickets. We need to add them to the directory, and we need to put a desk in for them. Once those have been completed, then we're going to come in here and we're going to send out the next series of tickets. I think you probably get where I'm going with this. How many times have you shown up with a computer and there's no desk, right? This increases your communication. It allows you to set up a step-by-step workflow for a lot of your projects. A lot of times there's certain tasks that are dependent upon other tasks, and so we can automate that process for you. And once again, these tickets are customizable. You can put in additional fields. I mean, it's not really a canned thing. You have the ability to customize it how you would want. Okay, I'm going to wrap it up here with reporting and customized reports. There's two types of reports you can do within the system. I'm going to stick with kind of graphical today, but just know that if you wanted to come in and run a data report, you can define your columns. You can add additional fields to this. You can put these in any order that you want. You can filter this how you want. For instance, any time frames, today, this week, this month, a range. There's just a lot of different options that you have. You can also come in here and do multiple selections. It's pretty standard filtering. I only want to see this location. Maybe I only want to see these two locations. And this goes for any field that we store. Let's see, where was that one? Did you still click on your keyboard again, right? I mean, you can come in here, add this to your report. You can filter the data, however you would want. You just have a lot of different options when it comes to doing your data reports. You can even name these and save these, obviously. You can have a list of your saved filters here. So all you have to do is run these. You can even take a filter and you can make it a tab. Once again, you can customize your view. You can put any field you want in any order that you want to see them, and you can filter it how you want. Let's say you want to see everything that has been assigned out that has not been updated in 3 days. I've already created this filter, but if I come here and I hit save, and I come back to the screen, it's now been added as a custom tab. So if there's information you want to view, throughout the day, just take a quick glance at it. You can create the filter and then put it into a tab. Now you can also take a filter and you can make it a graph. For instance, if I come in here, let's do a trending by category, right? You want to say closed tickets for the month, and I want to break it down by the type of problem. And so, you know what? I've changed this. I apologize. I was on a demo yesterday at the end of the day, and I made some changes. So let me go back. I guess I can talk about this. So in customizing your report, really what my ticket filter is closed tickets for the month. Okay, but what I'm doing is I'm breaking it down by category. I want to see what types of problems we did. Well, maybe you want to see this by location, or you want to see what your technicians did for the month, or priorities or statuses. I mean, you have a lot of different options there. You can even drill down a second time, and then you can determine what you want to see. I'm going to go back out here and run this again. Now hopefully it'll make sense. There we go. So I have my trending by category. Here's my different categories, total of 60 tickets for the month. A lot of hardware. Well, when I drill down, what types of hardware? You'll remember I chose this as my second drill down. I could have chosen something else. I want to see this by tech, by location, by status, whatever it might be. A lot of boot problems. I drill down again. I can actually see the tickets. These are the detailed information. I can open this ticket from the report. I don't have to go back into the help desk and look for this ticket. I can do that right from here. I also don't have to store all the information from this ticket, from each of these tickets in one report, because I can simply come in here and I can go into the ticket and look at it from there. Now, this might not be a boot problem. This might be a Nikki Patterson problem. And so you can see some trends here as well. Now, if I come back in here, I'm going to break this down a little differently, this one. Now, you could do this in HTML, PDF, Excel, CSV. You have some different options there. You can also run this on a schedule, meaning instead of coming in and running this, you could actually have it emailed to you automatically. It's automated reporting where you can then go in and once a month, once a week, whatever it is, just have this emailed to you on a time frame that suits you. Okay. Now, I'll show you just one other example. When I come in here, this is going to be open tickets by location. So I see my locations, a lot coming from the high school. I drill down. What statuses are they in, right? A lot of assigned and not updated. I can drill in here, and I can see this from here. It looks like Bob Marley's slacking a little bit, as we can see from there. Once again, I'm only scratching on the surface. You can even take these reports and put them in dashboard views. On our website, we have some awesome videos on the dashboard to where you can go in and take a look and kind of see how those work. It updates every like 10 seconds, and so it's really close to real time. If you're opening a report 4 or 5 times a day, or a group of reports 4 or 5 times a day, throw them in a dashboard. Keep that dashboard kind of there, and you can just take a quick glance at it, as needed. All right. Like I said, I've kind of scratched on the surface. I know I've said that a lot here during this webinar, but I've touched on some of the main key points that we wanted to today. You'll notice here a few additional things like knowledge base. where we can build public articles like frequently asked questions for self-help. You can even information share. We call them private articles, where you within IT want to share information with each other but not with end users. We can make those as private articles. We have like auto escalation, SLA, service level agreement tool where you can go in and set some guidelines. If somebody doesn't update a ticket after a day or 2 days, you can escalate it to medium or to high. You can notify them automatically, carbon copy, blind copy yourself. And so there are some additional tools here that I haven't covered, and just know that they are available, and we'd love to take some one-on-one time with you and maybe get a little bit more in depth. With that said, Amy, I'm going to turn the time back over to you, and if you could let me know if there's additional questions, I'd be happy to answer them.
All right, perfect. Thanks, Gus. And again, if you have any questions, feel free to put those through on the chat or on the Q&A. I'm not seeing any right now, but I'll give you just a couple minutes.
That's either good or bad, Amy. It's either a good thing there's no questions, or it's a bad thing. Maybe I was just really good and they just don't have any questions.
It's true.
Doubtful, but it might be true.